Hello again, YouTube. This is The Truth Man. The channel is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel. Now, I want to talk about something that a lot of guys is dealing with right now. I know this for a fact because I know many that are. And that's not being appreciated by these women. So it's all right for you to make $100,000 more than your girlfriend or your wife, but a lot of times they don't look at it the same way. How do I know this? For one, the stats. 90% of college educated women initiate divorce in their relationships. So what that's telling me is that a lot of times when they make more than the guy they're with, they don't respect him. They don't appreciate him. They get tired of him fast. And what happens with a lot of them is they end up with somebody with even less. Like they end up with a super Pookie. You had Pookie before, but you got Pookie 2000 after you got rid of your guy. There was a garbage man, or he was a janitor, or he worked in the factory, and you had your little corporate job where you put your little shirts, little ruffle shirts on like what Prince used to wear. And you see these other guys who maybe they are college educated. You know, college educated just mean you furthered your schooling and you learned this or that. That doesn't make you better than a guy that chooses not to go to college for whatever his reasons are. See, the innate nature of the human being is to compare themselves with others. People say, well, this is a competition. In some ways it is, but you don't have to compare yourself to others to compete. Case in point, I played sports all coming up, and I was in many games, involved in many games where we didn't know anything about the opponent. You know, we didn't even study them. We just tried to react to everything they did and win the games. Whether it was basketball, whether it was football. Like when I played, I had a brief stint playing Warning, what we call Project Respect here in Milwaukee. We didn't know anything about the guys we was playing against. The only way we knew is some of us, you know, be like, okay, I'm gonna go to their game because we play them next. But most people wasn't even doing that. So you don't have to compare yourself to compete. That's the devilish thing. Like the devil, one thing that the devil does is use comparison, because comparison brings division. So, for instance, like when a woman begins to compare what she has in terms of a man to other men, you know, she's going to start being overly critical, and she's going to start to look down on what she has. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. You guys, when these women be disrespecting y'all like that and you stay with them, man, something wrong with you. When they won't stop disrespecting you, you just need to leave them alone, man. Well, we got kids. Okay, so because you got kids, what are you teaching your kids? Like, what are you teaching your sons? If they just sit back and see you accepting disrespect from their mother. When you don't take it, it might seem a little more harsh, but that's when you're teaching your sons, because your sons will grow up and they won't be taking nothing off of women, and they shouldn't. You know, you should show them what disrespect look like, and if you end up having to leave, then you need to explain. Even if they grown, explain why it happened that way, because you never know. Sometimes in tight families, divorce affects the grown kids the same way, if not more. It's not like it don't affect them. It still affects them. So sometimes you got to explain why this happened. Marriage or kids do not mean you take a bunch of money. You're the leader of that house, regardless of how much she makes, or regardless of what she thinks. You know, you gotta, and be careful with them women that be trying to run men. Like, I always thought, this is something I always thought. When women have a problem submitting to men, and it's not all of them what I'm about to say, but I guarantee you it's a lot of them. A lot of these type be the ones that end up having relations with other women. And all the women that have relations with women or would have relations with women, you'll never know. They'll be so sneaky. You'll never know. But when they can't, like when a lot of women, when they just won't follow a man's leadership, like let's say you're an alpha male, and they just won't follow your lead, won't follow your leadership. Sometimes it be because they would go both ways. Sometimes that be what it is, and then you see these. They had a new stud with a hat like this. Like, oh, okay, that explains it. That explains it right there. The little bucktooth stud that you look better than her. I've seen it so many times. Like I used to see at work when I was in corrections. It was this one. I'm finna prove what I'm saying. So it was this one. She was all over the place, messing with dudes, messing with women. And one thing I noticed about her, she hadn't even been working there that long. But I started noticing that she, oh my goodness, they're trying to tear people's cars up. Man, that was a crater. I avoided it. What I noticed about her is she used to try to run men. And that's the first thing I always think with women like that. Why is she trying to run men? Does she think she's in competition with men? Does she want to be a man? That's confusion. And this is how I know it's confusion, because that ain't how they were set up. By the organizer of their DNA and their genes, the Most High. So a lot of times that's what it be. But that's not all it be. Sometimes it's they ain't been around good examples as wives. Like case in point, just because a woman is there and don't leave does not mean she's a good wife. So let's say their aunties, their cousins, their older cousins, their mother, their grandmother, let's say they were bad wives, right? Oh my goodness. I just bought that tire. Now, I didn't avoid that one. Dude. Let's say they ain't had no good examples. That's why I gotta get out of Milwaukee. That's one of the main. I got so many reasons. These streets are just tore up. That's why we got so many tire shops. But let's get back to it. So a lot of them don't have no examples. Like, who taught them what a wife is supposed to be? So if nobody ever taught them what a wife is supposed to be, then a lot of these are the ones that start out strong and then they end up just like the other people in their family. If they came along seeing their elders disrespecting their husbands, being flirtatious, talking slick, that's what they gonna do. And this is why y'all want to know why the divorce so high. I don't care what nobody say. most guys, especially when they had kids, they not gonna leave unless, when you see dudes initiating divorce, it's because she is terrible and she ain't gonna go down there and do it. These women, and y'all wonder why guys be dying before women. Man, I've only seen, and I used to always watch as a kid, because I was always curious about marriage and stuff as a kid, because my parents were married. You know, I come from a 2-parent household. I just lived in the area that became, and they raised me good. The choices I made didn't have nothing to do with them. That was just me. Stuff I was watching, where I was living, my parents didn't have nothing to do with that. They raised us good. But I was always curious about marriage. I noticed things, though. I noticed that my mother at times was very disrespectful. And I noticed that my father was not gonna leave. And he never did. Even when it went all the way sour, he didn't leave. So that disrespect, I noticed with them even, it grew over time. Like, it's like she went from playing the victim but I could see the disrespect, like how she talked to him in front of people, different stuff. I said, nah. I knew as a kid that ain't how it was supposed to be. I knew as a kid, like, even from like a little bit of reading the Bible and other things, I knew that ain't how it's supposed to be between a man and a woman. So it grew over time, because it always does. Women don't stop disrespecting you. They don't stop this. Okay, watch this. If a woman is disrespectful to you, she's not gonna stop disrespecting you. If you stop taking it off her, she just gonna do it within. She might not express it if she fears you leaving, but if you in tune, like if you like an intuitive person, when you go around her, you can feel like one thing that I can detect, or a couple things that I can detect easily. The vibe is so easy. I've always been good with vibes. Is people who don't like you, people who don't respect you. It's hard to hide, because you give off a certain energy, you give off a certain vibe, even if you not saying nothing. Like, you giving off this vibe. Y'all gotta get better reading vibes, because like, you could be getting a vibe from day one and you try to ignore it, and it can cost you in some type of way. Like, I've always been good with vibes. Like, I always understood, like when I think of the vibes, like, I would say that you can really tell, like, which women are into you if you understand those vibes. But sometimes it be the one that be showing you, like, the vibe that they not into you like that you do the wrong thing of trying to win her. Don't try to win. Don't try to win. Get the one that's trying to win you, not the one you think you gotta win. I'm telling you, man. I'm telling you. Listen. When y'all hear this stuff, don't go buy cars, don't go buy clothes, don't go buy appearance. Go buy factual information. Because a lot of the dudes that y'all think got it going on, they got the subs, you think they got the money. A lot of them be faking it till they make it. But who's keeping score? So You got to know when you're hearing the truth, and you got to know when you're seeing the truth. You got to understand how to read vibes. Because a lot of times these women could not even be appreciating what you do. And you won't know it because you don't know how to read vibes. Like before I start having the major troubles, I start noticing, I start picking up on vibes several years before. And so like when I start picking up on these vibes, I start seeing things that were the individual was trying to downplay these things, but the vibe was saying something totally different. So you'd be like, man, I probably done messed up. But you be hoping, nah, hopefully things do this. See, I had my prophetic unction long before I even knew I was a prophet. I had this unction. I had this intuitiveness. It's a gift. So the unappreciative women, over time, it gets worse. Every little thing, oh, you should have did this. Oh, you're gonna, no, I don't think you should do that. They think that they are your coach now, when they supposed to be helping you meet your goals and helping you be eased and at peace and relieved. But when they unappreciative, they not gonna help you, they gonna hurt you. And these be the most ugly divorces too. That's why guys is telling you don't get married at all. Then you don't have to worry about it. Because when a woman thinks she's a gift to you, when a woman thinks she's smarter than you, she's better than you, or doesn't appreciate you, those be the nastiest divorce. That's gonna be the one that try to take you for everything. And you guys gotta understand, if you dealing with what I'm talking about, don't let her take you for everything. Don't let her take you for everything. I know lying is bad, but I'd rather lie than give everything to somebody like this. Not gonna do it. Especially if they wasn't helping you, especially if they didn't believe you was gonna be successful. I'm not doing it. I'm just not. I'm not finna be nobody's slave. So, a lot of guys dealing with this unappreciation or whatever. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Unappreciativeness. If that's a word, I be creating words. So, you ain't gonna get nowhere with nobody like this anyway. You gonna come up short every time. Every time. See, you want your relationship to be harmonic. You want the Most High to be in it. A lot of time, the Most High don't be nowhere in it. The Most High be looking at it like you were supposed to get with such and such. You know? So don't complain now. Do what you gotta do. The Most High don't be interfering in relationship, because the Most High understand that don't nobody understand human nature like the Most High. The Most High understands human nature. He understands that we change over time. But what brings divorce and breakups is the change is too great. Like, people be looking like, is this the same person? Like, this don't seem like the same person. But if you look real hard, you be like, that's the same person. I was just blind to it. They was flirting around, talking to other dudes. In the beginning, you just was blind to it. They was being sneaky in the beginning. You just was blind to it. And guess what? One thing leads to another. And now you in divorce court. That's how it be. Divorce don't mean you a failure of a man. Divorce don't mean nothing. It just mean your relationship failed. Most of them do. That's all it means. It don't mean you a horrible guy. It don't mean you a deadbeat. You know, who makes these women play keep away with their kids? Some dudes just gonna be like, man, I'm not even dealing with that. Forget it. And then sometimes here's what happens too. A lot of times they be knowing stuff that the kids don't know. Like sometimes that dude be finding out that ain't his kids. So he leaves and he be looking at it like, man, I feel bad, but hey, what a dude gonna do if he finds out that those ain't his kids? You ain't gonna go up to your kid and say, oh man, I know you ain't my kids. So when you see them guys abandoning their families like that and not talking again, sometimes it be because they found out them ain't their kid. Because me personally, I don't think it's a lot of dudes out there that's going to abandon their family. Some of these hood dudes, they dysfunctional. Like all they think about, like I know guys here, all they think about is sex, and then they don't even be there for their kids. She be struggling. You know, it's a difference between a woman who's made some kids that's struggling because he's not helping them, and a woman that's trying to use the kids to bait in money so that the guy doesn't help them. You know, like all of y'all dudes that's paying all this alimony child support, I wouldn't give them nothing extra. Don't give them anything extra. Especially if they taking a lot from you. Be like, what are you doing with the money you getting? That's for them. That ain't for you. But of course, the pimp game government takes their fees. I wouldn't give them a penny extra. Be like, if you want, and I heard somebody else that's more of an expert on this than I am. Like, he was telling the guy, just what you buy them, just leave it at your house. Then when they with you, they dress clean, this, that, and the other. Because y'all ever notice, like, sometimes, you know when it's some pettiness. When the kids are with her and they not as clean. Then when you around or you making sure they get cleaned up. That's how you know. When they be on some other stuff, like, okay, if you cared so much, why ain't they clean then? I'm telling you, they be trying to destroy you. They be worried about what you do. They arrogance and they conceit. A lot of women that's conceited, them be the ones a lot of times that won't submit. And sometimes they be conceited. You be looking at them like, you is not all that. And some of them will keep their conceit that they had as a youngin' later in life. And you be like, you ain't all that. So when they conceited, that creates that unappreciativeness too. They think they God's gift to men. No, if you was God's gift to men, you wouldn't be so argumentative. You might be the curse to men. Let me show y'all something. A little off subject. I'm finna show y'all something. A woman who's loyal when you're not around, like her conversations are conversations with other men that you wouldn't say nothing about. That's a unicorn trait. Energetic, taking care of herself, unicorn trait. Making sure you eating all the right foods. If she don't know how to cook, then this food that she orders is going to be something that's going to benefit you physically. And she's highly sexual. You don't got to go after her. She going to come after you sometime. She going to come after you. You know, let's look at the flip side. A woman that you have to tell to have sex, bad woman. A woman who don't never want to cook, bad woman. A woman who's sneaking online, flirting with other dudes, bad woman. Especially if she confronts you for doing the same. Double standard is one of the worst traits a woman can have. I'm telling you, man. Okay, you don't want me to talk to nobody? You ain't talking to nobody then, right? You don't want you ain't in nobody's face. You ain't flirting around with nobody. And you know whether or not you flirting. You know when you typing if you flirting. You don't gotta babysit no good woman. You already know she gonna be good when you ain't around. She appreciate you. When she don't appreciate you, you probably have to babysit her. And if you got a babysitter, man, come on now. Y'all think I don't know what I'm talking about? Okay, show me the person who know more than I do. Show me that person. They'll be on point with this stuff more than me. We all talk in part. Like the Bible says about preaching, every prophet prophesies in part. Even on YouTube, we all have our part. But show me a person who's better at my part than me. You can't. Because I've seen it all, man. I'm telling you. From my own personal to other people, I've seen it all. And I've analyzed it all. I saw the good and bad of my grandparents. I saw the good and bad of my parents. I saw the good and bad of my siblings. I saw the good and bad of coworkers. When y'all hear me talking, it's a wide range of things. But one woman that is a waste of your years of life is an unappreciative woman. If she have to look back at stuff you did in the past, like any woman that focuses on one or two failures, I'm telling you, don't spend too much time. Get rid of her fast as you can. Because a woman that only is good when things are right and good, that's not a good woman. A good woman is going to fight with you through the bad times and help you overcome them. She ain't going to be another obstacle for you to climb. She ain't going to be another fight for you to have. And some women, let's be honest, it's not that they're a terrible person. They just either they not a good companion for you or they not a good companion at all. Because some of these women, they'll do all the right things with somebody else. And that's why you got to go ahead and let them do it. Especially if they going to have to see that you could have and should have did that back there. Now you trying to impress a liar. Now you trying to impress. Now you trying to be a wife to a sexual deviant. And got them all around your daughters. You putting everybody at risk. You putting everybody's freedom at risk. What dude gonna let somebody be touching on his daughters? He gonna want to kill them. What brother, if they have brothers, gonna let them do it? You putting everybody's freedom at risk. To prove a point. Be careful with them women who always got to prove a point. Be careful with them vindictive women who can't do right because of they blinded by their own arrogance and conceit. They don't realize their shortcomings because they don't let nobody tell them their shortcomings. They don't receive correction. That is another characteristic of a woman who's not going to be a good wife. If she can't receive correction where correction is needed, she's a waste. She's trying to be a man. She's trying to run you. She's trying to run you. She can correct you, but you can't correct her. She think you better? Do she think she better than you or something? She can correct you, but you can't correct her. Oh, you broke. You this, you ain't. You fat and lazy. When the last time you worked up? Oh, now she want to deal with another dude. Now she want to find and deal with the fetish. Instead of receiving correction. She rather just find the guy who don't want to correct her. But what she don't realize is that's a bad characteristic on a man's behalf. A man that won't correct a woman. That's not a good man. That's a horrible dude. If he won't correct a woman, he'll cheat on them quick. Because he don't care. He probably just want to get his nut off. He not correcting a woman? Y'all think that's good? You can't be that gone. You want a man, well, I want a man that's going to honor me, this, that. In other words, you want a dude that ain't going to correct you because you don't understand what honor is. The Bible tells us to honor our parents. They correct us, the good ones. And they correct themselves. What is that? I'm seeing a white speck. But anyhow, I'm gonna get going. I had a little time to talk about some stuff. We'll talk about more stuff later. Listen, man. Dude, that unappreciativeness, that's a sign that your relationship in trouble. You go try to get her a gift. Oh, why you get this? You could have got that. I want that. Are you a kid? Then you say, okay, you just give them the money. Oh, that's not enough. I did not sign up for this. Your life is supposed to get better with marriage. If it's not getting better, it might be time to end it. Your life after marriage, this is how you know you in the right relationship. Because your life after marriage will get better. If you always dealing with stuff, that's not a good sign. It's just not. You always argue. I should not be arguing more with a wife than I was with girlfriends. You say that, oh no, man, well, you around the wife more. It don't even matter. We should both have enough. Marriage is for wise people. And marriage is for people who gonna become wise. And if you become wise, what's the point of arguing? Arguing is what kids do. Remember how when we was kids, that's why you can't, your parents don't even buy you no shoe. That's why, that's kids. Kids. We wasn't arguing like that in college. When you arguing in college, you know you're out finna fight. When I was in college, anybody that I was always arguing with, I know we was gonna fight. And I had a roommate Me and him was arguing all the time. I knew we was gonna fight. And he came up short, y'all. But it don't matter. He talked all that stuff. And then when he got his lips split, he wanted to press charges. He was talking every day to everybody, just running his mouth, fat mouthing. I had a thing where I'm gonna hit you in your mouth. You be talking all that. I want to hit you in your mouth first. I like busting dudes' lips that used to run that, talking all that stuff. But he talked all that stuff. I knew he was gonna fight. Then I had another guy, we ended up being good friends. He passed away, but I thought me and him was gonna fight because I needed this math book that I didn't have yet, you know, because that was like one of the most expensive books. So I went to their room, and the other guy, I ended up being friends with both of them, but his roommate was cool about it. He said he was leaned up against his bed. He said, yeah, I think I got it. I said, what color is the cover? He gonna say pink. And looked off, and I looked at him like, yeah, we probably finna. He was way bigger than me, but I knew I could, you know, I could, how can I say this? I know that I want to be modest. I know that I could fight a little bit. So I wasn't worried about his size. I'm like, I don't like dude, man. I ended up being like my best friend at school. But at first I thought we was gonna fight, but what happened was I used to go, like at Jackson State, we had this thing called the Plaza. And I used to go and I'd just sit back and just watch. That was just fun to me. Like, even though I ain't know nobody, I just used to go out there and I would just sit there and watch people, watch the women go by. And I ended up being friends with them. Like, they came up to me and we just started talking. Like, and so every time I came out there after that, we started talking, and then we just started hanging with each other. Then we shared everything. And the guy passed away. He got killed when he went back home, and it's still a pretty sad thing, because I wish I would have kept in touch with him. And I went on his son's Facebook page. He looked just like him, man. It's just, the resemblance is just unbelievable. But I thought we was gonna fight, but the arguing ended up being jokes and being friendly talk. But the other one, my roommate, oh yeah, I already knew. He got to stealing my stuff. I said, man, this dude's taking my stuff like I'm a little bleep. Guys were scared of him. They wanted me to fight him because they knew I wasn't scared of him. And it was crazy how them dudes was smiling when we fought. Like, they just was glad he got beat on. Like, the guys on our hall, I don't think none of them, they couldn't have liked him. Why would he, all these spots? I don't know why these people do this. But they couldn't have liked him because they was too happy when he got beat up. But anyway, don't let them get away with this stuff, man. Some of y'all dudes act like it's a sin for you to leave these bad women alone. God gave you privileges and abilities as a man that he didn't give them. Like, you can have multiple wives, you can divorce. They can't, like, the only way a woman can remarry and be in God's good graces is if a guy divorces them for no good reason. Like, if they behavior and their unsubmissiveness and all that cause a guy to leave, then anybody they marry after that is going to be adultery. But if he just leaves because of some reason that's not even a good reason, then they can remarry. But a woman ain't supposed to fight against men. They supposed to be submissive and follow his lead. If they don't, he can divorce them. Like nothing against Tia Mowry or whatever. What's her name? The twin. But the way she went about her divorce, any guy that marries her, it's adultery. It's adultery. She might as well just go back to her husband. I wouldn't take her back because I wasn't too disrespectful. But her situation, the Most High ain't gonna honor no marriage that she has, because unless there's something we don't know about, there's no good reason. Like if she caught dude with a wing ding, like doing some fruity stuff, that's a reason. Now her relationship will be honored. But her just not wanting to follow his leadership, you would have been better off not even marrying them then. But I'm gonna get out of here. This is Truth Band. The channel is the No Matrix, No Simping, All Subjects channel.